Thanks for staying with us on Bloom. Before the break, we were talking about civility and the role it plays in our everyday lives. It's often said an office or organization's culture starts at the top, making it that much more crucial that leaders lead with civility. Civility expert and author Diana Damron is back. Diana, thanks so much for sticking around.
Thank you.
Okay, well, you defined what civility actually is, and if I'm kind of thinking right, it's more or less respect consistently.
Yes, yes. However, and this is where lots of times leaders get into trouble, what does respect look like? In other words, respect in a newsroom looks very different than the way we show respect in a financial institution, right? I mean, at least in the newsroom that I came from, you're in such a tight deadline that lots of times you're yelling.
Right.
And you're not saying please, you're not saying things, you just get it done.
Right, to get the job done.
That is not the way you would behave in a financial institution or in an attorney's office. So what you have to do is literally define the values of your organization, and then what are the specific behaviors for that.
That's so mind-awakening, because I think we carry into one situation what we know from another.
Very good.
So I can see where that would get very complex with everybody having a different mindset of what it actually is.
Yes. As an example, when I worked in a newsroom, I used to come in late. We all kind of came in a little bit late. So if all of a sudden I was hired for an entirely different type of job where I had to meet with the public at a certain time, and I'm ambling in a little afterwards, it's not going to work.
It's not going to fly.
No one has told me that. If that hasn't been spelled out, that's not on me. They have to spell out the expectations, and the leaders must be responsible for that.
Ooh, and you know, I think leaders are probably thinking of all the minute little details all the time and thinking everybody is on the same page. So if we don't understand that concept, and as a leader are not outlining what we should be doing. I read something in your book that really stood out, that job stress is a source of more health complaints than financial or family problems. That's going to cause a lot of stress.
Oh, it's huge.
And a lot of health problems.
It's absolutely huge. And something that people need to take into consideration, especially the leadership, and especially when you're looking at that bottom line. In 2009, this country lost $300 billion every year because of that job stress and stemming from workplace incivility. Not that many years, less than 10 years later, that number went from 300 to 500. Do you know where it is now? It is over $2 billion to $2.7 billion each and every day. That translates now to $1 trillion. That was that particular statistic came just out from SHRM, and that's the Society for HR Management. They know those numbers. So we're getting worse, and if we don't start focusing on civility and leaders really ensuring that it's going through the entire organization and that they are modeling it.
Right. It's going to cost money and health.
Exactly.
Which that's so detrimental to everyone as a whole and us as a society.
Yes.
So as a leader, how do we step back, and what can we do to change that? What action can we take to lead with civility?
Well, number one, you have to understand that all eyes are on you. You have to understand that everyone is taking their cue from you. And very often it's so interesting, because when I go in to do my training, lots of times I'm assigned everybody else but the leader. You see, very often the
leader hired you.
Exactly, the leader does hire me. But lots of times they don't realize that very often they're not sending the right message. They've been sending a message forever and a day. No one has said anything. And so it may not be the right message. So first of all, you need to be sure that they get involved with the whole idea of what does civility look like, and really they need some feedback.
Okay, so who's that feedback coming from? Is it coming from the employees, the people that are dealing with it? What do we do if we're in a stressful, toxic work situation because the leadership's not leading with civility?
And that's a really difficult. There's no one answer that fits all. For one thing, if you are in the organization itself, your paycheck is being signed by that leader, and depending on the leader, some are going to retaliate and some are going to say, I had no idea. Thank you so much, Amber, for letting me know. And so you could leave a copy of my book on their desk is what I would suggest.
Just a little subtle hint here.
A very subtle hint. But it's very, very difficult. When you are in that toxic environment, I was there, so I understand what that's like. I understand you're taking it home all the time. Sometimes going to HR, you do not feel comfortable because you feel like it's going to get back to the leader. And I think maybe finding a mentor or somebody who's really close to you who can provide some insights.
And that rock, because I've been in that toxic situation too, and you need somebody to say, you're not crazy. This is, I mean, maybe you are at the moment, but then you need to check either way.
Right, because you do feel crazy.
Yes. I love this book. I love the workbook portion of it, to actually go in there, and there are questions to think about and hopefully better ourselves and help everyone in the meantime. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Amber, for your invitation.
And of course, Diana's tips will be on our website, bloomtampabay.com. Stay with us. Bloom will be right back.